Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we're going to have a look at the latest radar, then we'll have a look at the longer term weather prospects, and then we'll also then have a look at Tropical Storm Elsa out in Florida. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Do remember to follow me on Twitter as well, links in the description. So we saw that deluge spread through many southern areas, and it's sort of in northern areas at the moment. Overnight last night, you got the remaining weather fronts, sort of over Aberdeenshire, northeast England, heading towards down to Edinburgh, general eastern Scotland. Now, elsewhere, we do have a lot of quite heavy and thundery showers. They've been centred really around sort of central southern England. We've seen quite heavy thundery showers spreading through many southern areas, and it's been providing quite significant rain on areas that actually saw the most significant rain over sort of last night. So if we do run it back, the showers have started to die down a little bit, but we did have some quite widespread, heavy, thundery showers. They've moved eastwards and sort of die out now. We do see more persistent rain spreading in from the west, so we have seen some drier conditions in some central areas where we've avoided these showers, and northern areas as well, but it does look like more persistent rain is going to be coming back in from the west. And if we do have a look at the futurecast briefly, you can see that sort of more persistent but lighter rain spreading in from the west before things do look like it's going to be turning a little bit drier for Wednesday and Thursday. If we do now have a look at the GFS, we'll have a look at sort of a long-term view. You can see this big low we've got over the top of the UK at the moment. Eventually, it will clear through. So for Wednesday, showers will sort of die down, and we get a brief ridge of high pressure building in, which we are going to like to see, and things can turn quite dry on Thursday, Friday. Still, probably a few showers around if you have an upper level trough. But generally things are a lot drier, and none of these really heavy showers widely, and no real persistent rain around. For it does look like low pressure is going to be coming back in from Monday. So generally the weekend does look like there will be some showers around, but things looking generally quite dry compared to the last few days. Low pressure does come back in through Monday. Before it does look like high pressure is going to try and extend up from the Azores for day 10, but it does look like towards the end of the run quite uncertain, with low pressure to our north, high pressure to our south, in a little bit of battleground situation. We'll have to see really what wins out, whether we do stay drier or we do stay more wet. Most likely scenario is wetter in the north, drier in the south, of course, but we'll have to see where that sort of dividing line does end up. It does look like temperatures are going to be generally around average. We did see a potential signal for some quite hot air. You can see whenever one of these lows does come in, it does bring up some briefly hot air in the southeast and central and southern areas. So have to keep an eye out for that in the longer term as well. If we have a look at the EGM, see how that does compare, you can see again that low pressure eventually clears. Things turn a little bit drier before Friday. We do have a bit of an upper level trough before that low does come in. So GM a little bit more low pressure dominated towards the end of the weekend, with that low really heading in through Sunday night into Monday. But things turn sort of northerly wind, probably quite cool with that, coming off the North Sea, even though the upper airs aren't that cold. And then as we head towards day 10, things are looking generally quite dry, so not too bad. If we do have a look at the ECMWF, you can see generally that low clears away, and then we see dry conditions do come in for the weekend, but then by sort of Sunday afternoon in the west, overnight Monday, that low does spread in. It does look like it does decay and sort of fills in, but we'll have some rain and more cloud associated with that before things do look generally drier, especially in the south beyond that. If we do have a look at the GFS ensembles now, we'll have to go back to the 6 o'clock run as the 12 set hasn't quite come out. You can see generally temperatures around average. We do have still quite a few precipitation signals around that we're going to have to really keep an eye on. Doesn't look like any massive deluges coming up like we saw last night. Still, though, potential for more widespread showers whenever we do see an upper level trough or low pressure system move through with cloud, and probably again, or as always this time, the threat of potentially some thunderstorms if we do see the right conditions. So nothing too warm on the horizon, but things are looking drier in the longer term for the last third of July, so we just have to keep an eye on that. That's something that's been cropping up on the models quite frequently, and hopefully it does come to fruition, as especially areas in the south have seen a lot of rain over the last few months, and could do with some drier conditions before we do inevitably head into the wetter part of the year in the autumn and winter in a few months' time, of course. Now, if we do have a look at hurricane or tropical storm Elsa. Now, tropical storm Elsa is sort of just off the southwest coast of Florida at the moment, and it's heading northwards with its outer bands impacting many parts of Florida. We do have tropical storm warnings in force, and there is the potential that it does upgrade to a hurricane just before landfall. Now, it's forecast to still remain a tropical storm for the foreseeable future, even as it comes inland. But just before it heads to land, it's looking like its wind's going to peak about 70 miles an hour. Right now, it's about 60. And I know at the moment there are observation planes going in to see what its winds are at the moment. But latest has been 60 miles an hour, and it's potentially upgraded to 70 miles an hour. And remember, Category 1 hurricane is 75 miles an hour, so just short of a Cat 1, it could even get to Cat 1, as it spreads northwards and then eventually northeastwards. So it does look like it's going to be impacting America quite significantly. We have seen the storm surge has been upgraded since our video yesterday in sort of the Tampa Bay northwards region, potentially 3 to 5 feet, only maybe a foot or two higher than predicted yesterday, but still significant storm surge could happen. And as I said yesterday, Florida is a low-lying state. It's with all its lakes, it's generally quite low-lying, so many areas could be under threat from even a small amount of flooding from the ocean or surface flooding. And if we do have a look at US rainfall, you can see generally along the coast potentially 4 to 6 inches, maybe a little bit more, and then where the centre of the storm passed through, widely 2 to 4, maybe a little bit more of inches of rain. And that's roughly around 100 millimetres plus in the yellow area, and around 50 millimetres plus in this darker green area for those working in sort of millimetres and centimetres. So significant rainfall to come, combined with the storm surge, could provide surface flooding, of course, where we do see the core of the storm as it heads up the west coast of Florida. So quite significant conditions could come from this, but luckily it is, of course, only a tropical storm, so wind is going to be significant, but it's not going to be absolutely devastating as if we saw like a Cat 3, 4, or 5 move through with 120, 130 mile an hour sustained winds plus. So still significant conditions could be seen, and if we do now have a look at the live radar, you can see at the moment we do have widespread thunderstorms along the south coast of America. You see intense thunderstorms in parts of Texas at the moment, heading up from sort of northeast Mexico. But it's this sort of spiral of rain we can see here, just off the southwest of America at the moment, which is Tropical Storm Elsa, and it's coming into US radar at the moment. So you can see sort of its outer band, still got a few thunderstorms heading around, but you can see it's got quite a significant eye wall for a tropical storm. Now, it's not a typical eye wall where we see sort of a circular area of heavy rain and sort of a central eye, but we've got sort of a northern eye wall on this tropical storm, as a sort of northern and eastern based precipitation, and it could, that's where the strongest winds will be, and it could provide some very significant conditions in that sort of centre. So we have to keep an eye where that does move through, and I'm sure the weather services in Florida and America will be keeping a real close eye on where exactly the centre of the storm moves through, where we could see the heaviest rain, most amount of rainfall, and strongest winds, of course, as we do head in. If we do now have we briefly do have a look at the wind speeds. Now, at the moment, wind speeds are starting to pick up just on the southwest. You can see very strong gradient as we head into storm, sort of Naples, Florida, just on the southwest coast, getting up to potentially 40 to 50 mile an hour winds at the moment, and those will pick up over the next few hours all along the west coast as we do head into the storm sort of making landfall probably in the next sort of 24 to 48 hours, just depending on its exact track and how quickly it does turn sort of northeastwards. And if it does upgrade to a hurricane, it'll be very interesting to see what sort of upgrades on any rainfall or wind forecasts we do see. So significant conditions could be seen, but luckily only a tropical storm at this stage. So just areas in America need to watch out. But it does look like it's going to set the scene for another above average storm season. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.